Thank you for the introduction. So now I will present basically the second paper that has been written by the research group with Filippo and the other students from the biomechatronics research group at the University of Agder. And my name is Langås. I'm a PhD research fellow at the University of Agder, and I'm an industrial PhD fellow, which means that I'm employed by a company called Agent. And so we're a company based in the south of Norway, working on developing digital twins for mainly for SMEs. Today I will go through some of the ethical and philosophical aspects of using digital twins for human-robot teaming. And this is based on both literature research, but also experience from working with this field. So first I will talk about like within ethical aspects, we have ethical considerations regarding privacy and data security, autonomy and control, intellectual property and ownership, and psychological and societal impact. And within the philosophical aspects, I will talk a little bit about ontological and epistemological considerations, phenomenological and existential perspectives. Bear with me with these long words. And lastly, something about ethical theory and moral agency behind this. So first, within privacy and data security, with using digital twins for human-robot teaming, we need to think about, like, we actually need the digital twins of the robots, but also of the humans, and that means that we need to be pretty careful with what kind of data we collect from the users and how we use that data, and make sure that we use it in a way that promotes the workers and the users, and not utilize it in a way that we're not supposed to. So this image, this is from a book I really appreciated by George Orwell, or it's I think it's generated by Midjourney or probably OpenAI, but it depicts basically some of the story behind the book 1984. And what it basically tells is that there's a totalitarian society where you have scouts, you have cameras, you have microphones that all the time collects data from people in this system and provides it to Big Brother, which can basically be seen as the leader of the totalitarian state, or like a representation of the government. And actually, what digital twins can be is it can be similar to Big Brother if used in the wrong way, in the sense that it can collect the data from all the users and it can know like everything about deviations that's happening on the work floor and about what the workers do. So this is actually not that far-fetched, because we've seen in like Amazon warehouses, they track their workers continuously using radio scanners, RFID tags on packages. So they track packages through basically through the warehouses, and then they track what they call time of task for each worker. And what was actually discovered, based on internal documents, is that workers at these Amazon warehouses can actually be fired based on this metric, time of task. And that's like, for a worker, knowing that you're constantly tracked with these metrics it's not promoting the worker's satisfaction, at least. And we should make sure that the data we collect, it promotes like the workers' mental health when working with these systems. So yeah, so privacy and data security, that's very important when working with digital twins in this manner in the industrial settings. So moving on, when we talk about human-robot teaming, we're talking about basically autonomous robots that works as teammates with the humans. Filippo presented it in a nice way earlier today, and we should make sure that the humans feels like they are, in a sense, in control of the situation. You shouldn't feel like the robot is the head of operations when you're working in, say, a disassembly task or an assembly task. So making sure that you value the worker's dignity in terms of decision making, that's also very important to promote how the worker feels in this environment. It shouldn't feel suppressed by the robot or the digital system. So further on, we have intellectual property and ownership. So it's very important that we keep very clear guidelines on the ownership of data, algorithms, models, to make sure that we avoid conflicts later on. So this is very important to consider in the starting phase of developing digital twins. And I think, by the way, this is a nice way to depict bias in AI. This picture, it's made by Midjourney, and Filippo talked about ethics with terms of machine learning earlier on. If you ask about any kind of image related to contracting or business or something like that, you always get two men or men in their 50s or something, white men, and yeah, so that's just something to add to Filippo's presentation about machine learning earlier. But regarding this ownership, we have some experience that's relevant with this term, and this is with a digital twin that we developed for an SME in Norway called Slamrensing. They develop water treatment plants for construction sites to treat sludge, to reduce emissions on construction sites. So they were, let's say, not a very digital company, cleaning sludge. That's like the first thing you think about, isn't data, maybe? And they didn't have clear guidelines with their customers regarding data. So when we came into this project, it was at first quite difficult to figure out how they could monetize on their data that their customers are utilizing for alerts, for example. And that's because they didn't have it in their contracts with their users or their customers. So bringing this in at a very early stage, that's very important, because it can really cause some conflicts later on that can be difficult to get out of. It turned out okay with this use case, but it's a good example, I think. So further on, we have psychological and societal impact of using digital twins in human-robot teaming. I don't think we want to end up here. It doesn't really promote human creativity. You don't feel valued. You just basically go with the flow with this great autonomous system with AI robots that knows everything about everyone and gives you whatever you need, wherever you need it. I mean, it can sound nice. I don't think it's very nice. We rather want to end up here, which is also a nice Disney movie, Big Hero 6, where we really live in harmony with robots, basically. And this is by promoting mental health and like really making the human feel valued in this sense. So this is also a great example of soft robots, which is a nice bridge to what Filippo will talk about later today. So moving on to the philosophical aspects, we can start to question like the nature of reality when we get these very advanced, very accurate digital twins of the world. Talk about the metaverse, everything like. Does the digital twin hold an ontological status, or is it merely a tool? And that brings us further to the phenomenological perspective, like how we can acquire knowledge. Traditionally, we say that in phenomenology, they talk about knowledge being a result of human experience, like only through your eyes, your ears, what you feel. That's when you can build new knowledge. But now, with this the digital twins, can we like build new knowledge with only simulations? So these are philosophical aspects that probably should, I think some of the philosophical theories should be revised with all of these new technologies, and with terms of how we can build new knowledge, how we can understand the world. So lastly, this is also like bad versus evil. We want to end up here, not here. So applying these, or thinking about these ethical aspects that I've talked about, and also taking into consideration the philosophical aspects, we want to try to end up here, where we have a sustainable society, where we can live together with the robots, we can collaborate with them. The data that's collected from users are done in a way that promotes the people. It's a human-centric design, and not this like probably looking more like the 1984 book by George Orwell again, where we have people suppressed, doesn't have their own kind of control. They are just a slave in this big system. So in conclusion, I think as researchers and developers, especially within computational intelligence, we have a very big responsibility to take this seriously and really be careful about what we develop and like what field of research we push forward and in what way we do it. So do it with ethical intentions and having the human at the center of it at all times, thinking about how we can promote the human happiness. It's a key to how we move forward with this and how we can like achieve the utopian future of Industry 5, which can be like either great or it can be devastating. Like when we start to collaborate with these robots and digitalize, and we have like insight into everything that happens all the time. There's a system that watches over everything that happens. So yeah, that basically concludes my talk today. Thanks for your attention, and if you want to reach out to us, here's our emails as well. And I'd like to thank Hamza and Filippo for collaborating on this paper as well. Thank you.
Hamza also for the previous paper.
Yeah, Hamza was in the previous paper as well.
Questions? I think I have one.
Yeah.
I really appreciated, especially in the lower left where you started talking about the psychological and the sociological impacts, because I was Where I'm going with my question, though, is so far the two talks have focused heavily on human-robot interaction. And yet my question is, do you see this extending beyond that? So as an example, the IEEE initiative talks about ethically aligned design for autonomous and intelligent systems, right? So they go beyond robotics.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of wondering what your perspective is there.
Absolutely. There's a lot overlapping. But working with research and trying to innovate on the field, we're trying to be a bit more specific with this paper, but there's absolutely a lot here that would apply to autonomous systems and computational intelligence in general. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Very interesting, thank you. So I was wondering, I believe that virtual reality offers tremendous opportunities for us and for the interactions. And I was wondering the issue of trustworthiness, how it fits into this scheme, if I follow the right, because I think it's equally important, especially in physical settings.
Yeah,
In
absolutely.
VR, it's kind of, you're safe there, anyway, whatever happens, but still it should be considered because if you want to deploy the machine, in physical, so.
I think this is an example of trustworthiness, and it's definitely a very important part of this, and also like Filippo talked about it with terms of machine learning, that we should have transparency in the algorithms and have some kind of insight into how they work. And also the previous video presentation, they also talked about the trustworthiness of AI, and it's definitely a very important part of this. I think mostly this psychological and societal impact, and that's how also the people can feel like in control of the situation, or having some kind of idea of what's going to happen if if I work with a robot and I touch this tool, what will the robot do? Feel like you know the robot in a way that supports the trust, I guess. Does it answer your question?
And one more comment regarding this ontological status.
Yeah.
Because by definition, if you look at physical reality versus virtual reality, so both are sort of candidates for having this sort of ontological status, because if you can simulate whatever physical reality, physical world. But I mean, VR has one extra option, that's related to scale. So for instance, I could investigate the heart from inside because if the heart is large enough. In that regard, it's becoming fiction. It's no longer corresponds to reality, whatever, because it would not be realized.
Yeah.
So it seems to me that it's like a dual status of this, both ontological, both either or not. I mean, it seems to be like a mixed.
Maybe we should have digital ontology. That's I don't know.
Digital, analog, but given the potential of that world, I mean, it exceeds the potential of the physical world, because there you can experience something that you will never experience in physical world.
Yeah,
so it's like it offers. It's highly immersive, so it's one-to-one. It goes beyond it.
So I think at least for the subject, for an individual, you can definitely get new experiences and build maybe your own personal knowledge. But can we build knowledge for humanity through it? That's maybe a big question.
Purposes. This is excellent for educational purposes, for instance.
Yeah.
Using whatever